Welcome to the Disney Hour Express podcast. I'm Abbie.
And I'm Rob. We are two hopelessly romantic Disney enthusiasts,
Sharing fun stories, secret tips, and family travel experiences.
If you are a Disney newbie, or maybe a season pass holder, we hope you find this information helpful.
We turned our love of Disney into a unique boutique travel agency that books Disney and Universal vacations.
We've got a lot of stories, so cozy on up, choose your favorite drink,
Whether that be a cocktail or a hot chocolate,
and enjoy the Disney Hour Express.
welcome to the Disney Hour Express. Thanks so much for tuning in, Podaneers. It is episode 104, and we are talking about underrated Disney villains who deserve more love. What do you think?
Well, I think welcome back, I should say. It's been a couple weeks.
Yes, that's so true.
Come back to everyone. As you do, here's us in video as well as audio. Hopefully it sounds and looks better.
That's right. We had to update a few things and change around our studio a little bit.
So we're seeing, it looks like it's working for right now. Last week we were away, right?
That's right.
Before we dive into the biz of Diz.
Mm-hmm.
So we were away. We went to Boston for a dance thing.
Yep, all the dancing happened.
There was lots of dancing for one daughter, and then the other daughter was having fun, living her kind of best life.
She really was. I think she
even though
enjoyed it.
She just kept saying she was bored, hungry, and all these things. But so one of the things, we stayed at a Westin.
That's right.
The
Westin Seaport.
Boston Seaport District Hotel, I think was the full name of it.
It was a really long name.
Yeah, it was a long name. And it was a nice hotel. It was like it felt a little higher end, right? Like you walked in and had this big video screen, like showing an aerial view of Boston and the seaport and the snow. It was like, that was pretty cool. I know we wanted to record a magical minute, but it just didn't. It
didn't happen. We were
rough.
like fully immersed in kid stuff, so that's all right.
Well, the pluses about the that particular hotel was it had a Starbucks in there, which I'm not a big Starbucks person, but being that it was like the place to get coffee because hotel room coffee, especially for people that require.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah, exactly. They require coffee upon wake up, otherwise she won't talk to you and we'll get mad at you.
I don't know what you're saying.
Anyway, so we had that going, and
so we had to find our favorite Starbucks, like what our likes were for Starbucks. We went through a couple of things, which was good. It was great.
I'm a blonde vanilla oat latte type of guy. The opposite choice of my women.
Well,
woman? Okay, I'm not going to talk anymore.
Oh my God.
Anywho, so yeah, that was cool. It had a pool that was
the indoor pool was key because the weather this past weekend was just like really bad.
It was rough,
like icy rain, snow, like whatever. It was all falling from the sky.
It had a workout fitness center that Bailey and I went to 2 mornings in a row.
That's right. It was a good fitness center.
Yeah, they had Pelotons and all this stuff, but just generally the room was a little bit. So the room was small.
Yes, we didn't really appreciate, and you can choose which kinds of rooms you want. We were just staying in some block rooms, and so the beds themselves were kind of double beds, correct? Which is not ideal for a family of 4,
adults,
right?
And 2, for parents to sleep in. It was a little rough.
Yeah,
sleeping. I did not sleep well.
Nope.
Abbie didn't because I'm a mover. And so it was just a lot of me. And even though I'm normally on the edge of the bed anyway, this was even a little more so because you turn over and here's Abbie, right?
You make that sound like it's bad.
No, I appreciated it. I like the snuggles.
Sure.
So that was a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. It's like it really felt like they could have put 2 queen beds in there and it
They
would have been
could have.
fine.
So it's like it was very
Yeah.
interesting as to why they didn't do that.
Yeah.
So anyways, I mean, but it was okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
So
okay.
we made it through. Things we did while we were up there, I mean, besides the dancing and the workouts and all that fun stuff, I mean, we're talking over like, cool, we worked out in a fitness center. We went to an Alamo Draft House that's up there. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Alamo Draft House is a really cool movie theater. I guess it's a chain now at this point. It started in Austin, Texas. And it's like they love movies. So they show like, they had a big Iron Giant statue, like a tall, it had to be probably 20 feet tall, Iron Giant in the lobby that we took pictures with. And it just has old movie posters everywhere. And they're known for having really good food because it's like not your typical like reheated microwave food. It's, like actual, they cook it there.
Yeah.
Right? There's a chef and they cook things. And then they have drinks and they bring everything to you. They serve you at your seat there.
It's so fun. I love the atmosphere of all the Alamo Draft Houses. It's the best.
And of course, we saw the cinematic treasure that was known as Paddington in Peru.
It was so cute. I highly recommend this movie.
It was. And that's what, the Paddington series has been like one of those things where it's kind of it's grown out of its class and it's like adults like it. Adults are like Paddington 2 was like the best movie I saw the last year, and so this one was, I thought, equally as entertaining. And, it's still technically a kid's movie and it's not like it's raunchy or anything. It's not like at all. They have like some weird storylines, but nuns and things. And
yeah.
But
they're a little out there.
Yeah, but it's still Paddington. And anyway, so we did that. That was a fun night. We did one night. And then like the thing, so Abbie, not unfortunately, but Abbie had to sacrifice her time to be with our dancing child to kind of monitor her as she was dealing with it. It was her first time doing one of these things. So she was doing that. So I was kind of with Bailey, kind of entertaining her.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we had looked up beforehand that we went to, and to give her some sort of an activity to do during the day, instead of just sitting around, was we went to the Boston Museum of Ice Cream. Yes, there's an ice cream museum, and
they also have them in New York City and a few other cities.
They do have them throughout. We had a really good time there. It was a lot of fun. It's basically you go in. And they have like 13 different rooms that are kind of all geared towards something to do with ice cream. It's like you're finding out facts or you're trying. And it's kind of like you're in Willy Wonka's factory, you're going around. And it had all these things and it puts you on like this fake airplane and they give you ice cream. Now it's like, I think it was 5 different ice creams and you don't really get to choose what type of flavor you want, but it is limitless. You can go and eat as much, like you could go back and just like keep asking, keep getting more samples or ask for more or whatever it is.
Now, for the price that you paid, did you feel like you ate yourself that much in ice cream?
So that was the one thing I was going to get to. It was a little bit pricey. It was $51 per person, which is, that's like pretty steep. If you're going with like a family of 4, do it $200.
Yeah.
I mean, is it enough ice cream? I wouldn't pay $51 to just eat ice cream. No, of course not. But you're going to the activities and it just had all these, this room of like all refrigerators and you could open it up and they had like little things that popped out or it had other hidden rooms and like their bubbles were coming out. I can't even explain it all. It would take the entire episode. It was enough fun. We enjoyed ourselves. She had a great time. It had a pool full of oversized sprinkles that you could just jump in. It was kind of like instead of a ball pit, it was like a sprinkle pit. So she enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It was a good time. They had lobster. The most disgusting thing that they had was they had lobster ice cream. And I think that's what they do is they obviously know people are going to talk about it. So like, let's put out something with
lobster roll.
Yeah. So she tried it. She's
so
just
brave.
She's like, I'll try it.
Anything ice cream. I'll try.
And so she took like one bite and she was like, no. I was like, yeah, I got it.
I'm so proud though that she tried it.
Yeah.
Now she can say that. Like, I
Yeah,
did
no,
the
exactly.
lobster roll ice cream.
I tried
Yeah.
it, and yeah, we went back. We had a really good time, and so we enjoyed it. It's a little bit pricey. If you can swing it, I definitely say if there's one that's near you or you're going to a city that has one of these things, it's worth checking out.
Very cool. Very, very cool. I'm
Maybe
so
next
glad
time
you guys
Abbie
did that.
will go. Next time, and I'm going to, because we ended up getting like this extra sundae it was on top of everything else. And like I was full, like I didn't need lunch after that.
That sundae was so just full of sprinkles, like you couldn't even find the ice cream in there.
Yeah, exactly. But go on an empty stomach.
Yeah, I'm so glad you guys did that. There were a lot of other things that I wanted to do in Boston, but it was because of the weather. I think I always forget that like in the wintertime, it's just like not ideal to be bouncing around the city.
Just a lot
because
of
the weather's all
Ubers
different.
and
And the wind too this weekend, that weekend was just
rough.
like, whoa.
Of course, it was fun coming home to just sheets of ice everywhere.
I know. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Everything looked like an ice skating rink.
So thankfully, the upcoming week, it's supposed to thaw out and warm and get into the 40s, which I know anyone that's in the south of the country is like, no, that's cold still. I'm not going outside.
Listen, though, I feel like all over this year has had some very interesting weather. It was like snowing in Texas at one point and Mississippi and like all over. So, we've had weird experiences.
You know where another place where it's pretty cold is wherever the Disney villains. Great segue, Rob.
I know. Wow.
I did it.
I mean, I'm impressed that you tried, though. That's impressive.
I was like, we've talked too much about Boston. Let's bring it back to Disney.
Well, I get you. So, yeah, we were going to talk a little bit about the villains because especially we have a lot of news about the villains' experiences that are coming about that we were going to dive into a little bit. And then, of course, the villains' land. So it's not just experiences or the new show that's opening, I mean, some point this year, right? But then the land that we have
the show in Hollywood Studios.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, let's get right into it.
Okay.
The villains that we usually think of right away, I mean, we're thinking about Maleficent, Scar, Ursula.
It's Malfeasant.
Malfeasant? What?
That's Sister Jen. She'll get upset. She
okay.
called it that.
I don't get it.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay. So, yeah, these are like the heavy hitter ones, but they're going to take a back seat today because we want to talk about the villains who don't get enough credit, right? So right off the bat, I'm going to say one of the villains that I absolutely love and that terrifies me is Dr. Facilier from Princess and the Frog. Now, Princess and the Frog is a New Orleans-based movie, and I don't know if this villain scares me so much because I've been into the New Orleans voodoo shops and like have heard stories and then watched a lot of the movies about voodoo. Like, what was that? Like, was it the Indian in the Cupboard or something that was based
Stripper in the Rainbow?
I'm sorry, what? I thought you said Stripper in the Rainbow, and I was like,
Abbie, we are in the family section of the podcast.
Well, it was what I heard.
What are you? Get your mind out of the gutter. Get your mind out of the swamp.
Anyways, so I just find like voodoo and that kind of activity very scary. Like it's all the things that hide in the corners, right, of your peripheral vision, things like that. So Dr. Facilier has like style and class, like his outfits are really good. And like if you saw him on a street corner, it's like his facial expressions that give him away as being kind of a villain. It's not anything else, right? It's the facial expressions. Because if you think about, like, Maleficent, like, it's her whole outfit and face that make her a villain. Whereas this is just his facial expressions, I feel like. But he's just incredibly classy. And his song, Friends on the Other Side, is such, like, a hit. Like, to me, that's, like, a brilliant tune. I don't know. Did you happen to have any villains that you think are underrated?
I did not. So we are solely going off of your list.
As usual.
This is what we do. But the whole Dr. Facilier of it. First of all, I'd like to bring his name's confusing. It doesn't look like it's spelled. So I think that's part of the reason why maybe it's undervalued. I think it's just the general, no one, like the Princess and the Frog isn't, despite Tiana's Bayou now being, a focal point of the Disney parks, I just think a lot of people just aren't familiar with Princess and the Frog.
And it's a good movie. So I wonder why they is it too scary at points with Dr.
I don't
Facilier?
know. I don't think so. I mean, no more than Ursula's scary. I mean, so that's not really the scariness of it.
Yeah.
Isn't Jafar? I mean, the Disney villains are relatively scary. The hunter with the gun and Bambi. Sorry, Bambi's mom.
It's true. I mean, that's scary, but it's such a small portion of the movie that and Dr. Facilier is a big portion of this movie,
again,
a lot longer.
That's like the Ursula, the Jafars, and they're more in throughout the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they're known. I think it's again for some reason, and there could be, there might be some racial reasons behind that.
I was wondering if that was it.
Yeah, it's very possible. It's very possible. It's not a known. Again, I read it to Bailey for the first time. I heard of it, but I never watched it. I mean, again, I was a single adult.
Right.
But yeah.
So these later movies, there wasn't really a reason for you to watch them until you ended up having kids, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I know, I get it. So I had discussed with travel specialist Nicole about this villain thing too, and she without hesitation said
for the next one.
She said that Madame Mim, so Madame Mim from The Sword in the Stone, she said, my whole life, this villain has haunted me. And she's like, I know it's not a classic Disney movie right now. It's kind of more of an old school movie. So I went and I watched some of the Madame Mim moments of Sword in the Stone, and she's nuts. She literally says lines like, I just like to cause chaos in people's lives and make everything terrible. And the way she says it and how she looks, she's kind of this frumpy lady with crazy hair, take my hair and make it times 10.
Wait, why don't you show us since it's on camera? Show.
And she's
make it okay.
She's definitely.
Does she have warts or something on her nose?
She might have had one wart or something. She didn't.
Okay.
She was not an attractive woman, and there was part of it where she says there was a cough of somebody was coughing in the scene, and she goes, "Sounds like someone is sick. I do hope it's something serious, something dreadful." Or I guess she said dreadful, but I turned it into deadful.
Oh,
she, I mean, that was her perspective. She's just
on the Disney animation.
You die. So she's truly sadistic and finds crazy delight in gruesome and grim. Okay. So the difference between her, she doesn't want to rule her land or the world. Ursula's I'm going to take over everything. This is all mine and I'm the queen. Yeah. She just wants to purely cause chaos and bring trouble. So it's kind of psychopathic. It's really intense.
And she's the one, right? She has the wizard battle.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, with Merlin.
Right. And so I think she was asking the children or the youngsters of this movie, who's the best wizard? She gets totally ticked off when they don't say it's her. Again,
I think that's another one, Sword in the Stone. It's a popular story, but it's not as.
And is it because it's older? Is there going to be a remake of this?
I don't know. I mean, Snow White obviously being the first one, right? That's older, but people flock to it still. And there's no Sword in the Stone ride.
But there's the sword, in front of the carousel, which is a famous picture.
But a lot of people don't. I bet you ask a lot of kids, they don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to. My dad wants me to pull this sword try to pull the sword.
So it's probably more about our generation pushing it than the kids. Would you honestly let your kid watch that movie with a sadistic, crazy woman?
Yes.
Wow, no hesitation there.
Because they won in their house already. No, I'm only kidding.
Bert.
You're the best. No, I mean, it's, who the King Arthur, I would, that's a great story. That's one of my favorite all-time stories. I watch almost any iteration of that as it is, and I'd love for the kids. Maybe I could get Bailey to sit down and watch it. Well, she gets too scared, but what do you got? What's number 3?
So number 3, I actually loved this movie when I was younger. There was something about just the characters and maybe that the boy from the Jungle Book, the boy Mowgli, I think there was just something that I felt relatable to him, that he's growing up, but he's not really like everybody else. But he takes pieces from every animal that he meets, and that's helping him grow up to build his own character, right? Because he doesn't have a mom and a dad that he can follow after. So he's just taking those pieces of the different characters. And I think that's pretty beautiful. But the villain in this story is Shere Khan, right? And so, again, kind of an interesting villain. He's not around all that much in the movie. And he's more of like, think of like, you know, the Dominator of Hell or something. Like everybody's really terrified of them and does good and follows the rules so that this Hellion monster doesn't come, right? So Shere Khan is a confident Bengal tiger, in case you haven't, you know,
confident
seen the movie. Like
I'd be scared of a confident Bengal tiger.
Yeah, I mean, like, and by confident, I mean like you're watching him and he struts, right? He doesn't just like walk. He like does the strut of like, I'm in charge and I'm judging you every single step I take. I'm looking at you and I know what you did and I don't like you. So he has this intense hatred for humans, right? But specifically, if you're like looking at the politics of it, he hates humans and guns because they are destroying his environment and killing his family. So
Shere Khan's a liberal. What are you saying?
Right. So that's it. The most interesting part about him being the villain.
I mean, we don't want to bring politics into it, but yeah.
It is so interesting to look at it from that perspective, right? He just wants to protect his jungle. But at the same, so he doesn't like this little boy. No matter what this little boy, how he is raised, he doesn't want him in his jungle. So
I get it, man. It's like, come on, man, cover up, dude. Maybe wear like some leaves or something there.
But they also kind of make him a little bit more evil by adding this kind of characteristic to him that he enjoys the act of killing for pleasure as opposed to survival. So like he'll kill the humans and whatever around him he needs to and take joy in it. So that's really the part that gets you a little like, ooh, you know.
The dedication of, that's the definition, I'm sorry, the definition of evil. Right?
Yeah.
It's enjoying killing.
Joy in killing.
Yeah. So Shere Khan. Now, I don't think I've ever seen the cartoon all the way through.
Oh, it's really good.
I've seen the live action version, saw that in the movie theaters. You know, does Shere Khan have a song? Is there, right? They're singing.
You know,
in
I
Jungle
feel
Book.
like I don't think he like. That's a really great question because I don't remember if he. I mean, I can only remember Baloo having a song and all the joyful songs. I do when I see his face, I do hear some like evil music. Like, so he definitely had like a theme. Music around him.
Now, going back to Sword of Stone, was there? I don't remember because I haven't seen it in forever. Are there songs in there? Is it musical?
Yeah, she definitely. But it was like a squeaky. It wasn't like something you sing along to, right? She definitely like sings, has her own little dance and stuff. So we definitely want to know who's your favorite underrated Disney villain. So let us know in the comments or on our social media. I'd
let us know.
To hear all about that.
And what are our social medias?
These were our top 3. So, go for it. You tell all our social medias.
They'll be in the link.
Fine.
They'll be in the links. It's a little bit. Of course, we couldn't find. It's all under. It's like Disney Family Travel Planner on Instagram or Family Travel Planner on TikTok, Facebook. What else do we have besides that? I think that's it. We're in Threads. It's still Disney Family Travel. Anyway, we'll have links. But yes, we'd love to hear from you. We want to hear like what there's stuff that we're missing and ones you feel that are underrated.
Yeah. I mean, and to talk further about like the lands that are opening soon, why is it like we're so pumped for them? Right? We're so pumped to see the bad guys finally win, which is so weird about us as humans.
You know, it's typically, and it's probably because of movies, right? Typically villains are the ones that they get to come in and they have like they get to chew the scenery of whatever scene they're in. And that's kind of what sticks with us and that's why it was like a big deal. Like in the 90s when it sort of became it was like your anti-heroes. Where like they were now big. You know, it was like these guys that were kind of bad, but they're good. And you were rooting for them. Like it's always okay to kind of root for the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the Hans Gruber effect, right? You know, you like Hans Gruber, he's very charming, but ultimately, you know, you want to see John McClane win.
Well,
so it all comes back to that.
I mean, they seem to have a little bit more personality, don't you think?
Yeah. Yes.
Like there's a lot of layers to a villain because they became this way for a certain reason. So I think that's one of the main reasons is that they're charismatic and dramatic and entertaining. Like they bring a new level of entertainment. And as you said, they kind of steal the show.
Yeah.
They come right out. And most of these guys have some sort of like iconic design to their being, like Maleficent's horn or the evil queen's cape. Scar had like some really intense green eyes that we saw throughout. And so it's kind of it's interesting. I mean, every character really has something that you can take away, right?
Yeah.
But they also do too, which are unique, more unique than just like a dress or a certain crown or something. Or a shoe.
And these glass slippers, right? Well, they don't mean anything. Now, you had in there, right? So, as you were saying, like the showstoppers, right? The villains have their songs and there's like some of the more popular of the movies. I mean, there's other, you know, the protagonists also have, you know, Little Mermaid, you know, Ariel singing a bunch of stuff, but, you know, Ursula has.
Poor unfortunate souls, which is
I thought she was going to bust out.
I mean, I would have, but with this new setup, and I can see myself, I'm like, oh, there's too much Abbie happening.
Well, we can turn your screen off if you like, and you could do it. Anyway,
then you'd get a lot more faces from me, I think.
We have Scar as Be Prepared. Right?
Yes, and they're really, really good songs. I mean, these are ones you can belt out.
With Friends on the Other Side is...
Yes, that's Dr. Facilier in Princess and the Frog. Yeah. So that's really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, one more thing about them. We like the dark side because it shows us and teaches us lessons about why we need to stay in the light side too. Like it teaches us about or reminds us about our kindness and bravery and love, while the villains continuously show us the consequences of greed and envy and power. So it definitely keeps us, like, you always walk away feeling good about yourself or better, or like you've learned something or been reminded of your basic lessons in life from kindergarten. So that's another reason why we love the villains. We need to see the bad, so we are reminded why we don't venture that way. Right?
And I definitely am basic.
Basic. I love it.
Basic.
So anyways, we've been begging forever to see more villains in the parks, and we're about to get Halloween vibes all year round.
Mm-hmm.
So as we've talked about on this podcast time and time again, that Halloween and spooky season are just really, really loved at Disney World. I mean, all the Halloween parties sell out incredibly quickly at Disneyland and Disney World.
Yeah.
Because we want to see that eerie, mischievous energy in the parks 365 days a year. So what does this mean? It means that we're going to bring more villain meet and greets. It's usually a bit rare for us to see villains year round in the parks. So the whole land is going to be like, you're going to walk in and see these villains all the time. And then we're expecting it to bring some epic rides and attractions. We don't really know too much about the rides. We're expecting a roller coaster and some sort of indoor ride. Is that right?
Yeah, you might know more than I did. I did try doing some research. I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to know exactly. Like, we're just going off of permits of what they've come up with. So it's really like a guesstimate at this time. But they are moving forward. As soon as March 1st, I think they're going to start putting together that land. I believe that's what some of the permits were pulled for. So we're looking forward to the immersive atmosphere. It's interesting to me, like, how sunny Florida is going to become some sort of dark, villainous place. But I'm telling you, over at Universal, they absolutely did it with the Harry Potter themed places like Hogsmeade and everything, like it's could be like 102 degrees and I still feel like we're in London and just
You feel like
some of the things
you're
we're
in the
looking at, we feel like
snowy,
chilly and
yeah.
like, yeah, like, it's just they somehow got that element and that feeling. So the new area is going to be about 14 acres for the villain's land. So that's nice. That's going to definitely put those two major attractions together really well. And from what we've seen in the concept art for the villain's land is that the Queen of Hearts, Jafar, the evil queen, and the evil queen in her old hag form, which we actually see over at Seven Dwarfs, right? Lady Tremaine, Yzma from the Emperor's New Groove, Cruella, Captain Hook, Maleficent, and Maleficent's dragon form. Gaston, which, I mean, I guess he's evil, but I don't find him, he's really evil. But I can't imagine him in villain land.
You're saying Gaston and you don't,
like,
he's super evil.
But he doesn't look super evil. Does he look super evil to you?
I mean, you don't have to look super evil to be evil.
Got it. Yeah. And then we'll see Mother Gothel over there, Ursula, Hades, and the Chernabog from Fantasia, right? Chernabog. I always think of like Ghostbusters when I see the Chernabog. Like, he doesn't remind me of like Fantasia, but yeah. Those are a couple of the naughty villains we will see over there.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. Sorry, I hit my camera. My bad.
But you get excited once you finish talking about villains.
I had to stretch my legs.
I got it. But you should stretch them.
I mean, again, I'd love to hear all y'all's feelings about the villains.
All y'all's. She went Southern again.
Boy.
All right. Now, kicking off, we're going to do some Disney news. Go around the parks.
Around the parks.
Disney Universal news. So did you know that there's a new Disney resort being built?
Oh, yes. Yes, I did.
You did? Do you know the name of it?
I have no idea.
Okay. It's called the Disney Lakeshore Lodge.
That's right.
And it's going next to the Fort Wilderness. Okay. Where it's being built.
Yep.
It was originally called, I have the name somewhere. Anyway.
So
it's been since like 2018.
That's right. We reported on this not too long ago.
Yeah.
But yes, it started quite a long time ago and then stopped, I think, primarily because of COVID.
Yeah, because it was originally a water park called River Country, and that was demolished to make way for this new resort. That was called Reflections.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the construction had barely begun and was shut down due to COVID-19.
Yes.
And then they started filing for like permit extensions and stuff in 2023, and then in 2024 they announced it was now what we call Disney Lakeshore Lodge. This is all rumor, but one of the big things is that it's supposed to have like a really cool lazy river. And that's the rumor. That's why I'm talking about this, is that it's going to only be the second Disney resort to have a lazy river in it.
Well, that's cool. What's the first one?
It is the Yacht and Beach Club Resort.
Okay.
That's a lazy river that I've never been in.
Yes, we haven't been in it. Now, this is a DVC property, though, correct?
Correct.
So I think that's often why I get like a little turned off about talking about them. Not that we don't stay in DVC resorts. We certainly do. But I do feel like it's, they don't advertise them as widely because they're for GVC clients.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah. So.
And now but there are more ways. Like they have like websites and apps that allow you to like, put up your DVC property for rent. And
yeah.
So it's like easier to find and you can then use those.
Yeah.
Even if you're just staying there for a week or, 5 days, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's something to keep on the lookout. Now, there's lots going. Disney just getting over. It was a busy week at Disney.
Yes, it sure was. It was with like this.
The President's Day weekend is always busy, and then it just kind of continued on.
Well, they had the race, right, this weekend, too.
And then there's still some places, it's weird, up where we are, they don't have a winter break anymore. But I guess there are places that still do.
So, I mean, that's true and not true. I think it's just our particular school district no longer has a winter break because the town over that way and that way and that way all have it. They all had last week off.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of sucks for us.
I mean, it sucks at not. Get the kids to school. You can go to school. Learn, all right? Stay home, go to mom's office.
I know. That's poor. I know. I say I want them to have time off, but really they just spend time with me in the office.
So it was a busy week. On Friday, all 4 parks, so Friday, February 21st, also known as yesterday, all 4 parks sold out in the Premier Pass.
Yeah, not surprised.
Crazy, right? So the person who came up with this idea obviously is probably getting a raise right now because they're like, yeah, you did it, man. We sold so many Premier Passes, which really means nothing. And we've done nothing to allow these people, it's just all upside for them. So they're all making profit. Now, they were showing as of today, you were still able. Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios were sold out today for Premier Pass, but you were able to get them for Epcot and Animal Kingdom. If we all didn't remember, it's the Premier Pass is where you pay a fee, which is a pretty hefty fee, and it allows you to go on every ride in that particular park for each person that you pay for once. And you get to skip the line, or you get to go to a lightning lane. You don't have to plan. You don't have to schedule in advance. You just kind of walk up, scan, and you go into the lightning lane. And you could do that once, and it keeps track, for you. And it's a very cool, pass to have, but it's expensive. Animal Kingdom, it ranges from $129 to $199. Hollywood Studios from $269 to $349. Epcot is $169 to $249. And Magic Kingdom, which is always the most expensive park because it's Magic Kingdom, it's $329 to $449. Now, they don't say how many passes they allow in each park, so you can't really get just how many, are they only releasing 20 of them and they're saying they're sold out? I don't know. It's not like, you never have a group of people saying, well, we all got the Premier Pass. Who knows? I mean, paying the Premier Pass, though, for Animal Kingdom or even Epcot, I could kind of see, but for Animal Kingdom, that's bananas.
When they have their new rides open, I could see maybe if it was back when right Avatar just opened.
I think Cali River Rapids is still down, so you're only looking at the 2 right Avatar rides, Expedition Everest, the Safari. Maybe a show. I mean, dinosaurs there, but I just couldn't see. Anyway.
I agree. But, we've had folks that we plan their trips for that have done Magic Kingdom, a few of them with the Premier Pass, and felt like it was absolutely phenomenal. It was,
like I said,
great.
The Disney exec that said, let's charge these people this much to pay walk onto a ride anytime they want, he's getting a raise.
But it does match to Universal's Express Pass. And it's so interesting to me because, as for Universal has the 2 lands and you can get the Express Pass for park to park. And I used to get all the time how, this is too expensive. It's so expensive. I can't do it. And now here they are going to Disney paying far more than what the Express Pass is. So it's just interesting. It's interesting how that mind shift happened.
While we're talking about ticketing, there's a rumor, and this is just a rumor. We haven't heard anything yet. The rumor is that Walt Disney World in Florida and Disneyland might be moving to a fluctuating demand-based ticket pricing. Right now,
aren't they already on that?
So it's date-based, which is kind of it's more predictive, right? They know that these weekends are going to be, these weeks are going to be busier, Christmas and President's Day and the whole month of April because of spring break. But this would be more based on demand because I think they're trying to find deals for the months where people the beginning of February, January, the ends of January, end of August, and September is very slow, that you could get a better deal to go to the park.
Okay.
So again, it's just a rumor, I think at one point it was I could be wrong here, but at one point it was just a flat ticket, like every day costs the same. And then they said they switched it says date based. They switched the date based in 2018. And, that's when in December 2022, they introduced park specific pricing for 1-day tickets. So that's why, Animal Kingdom's usually less. It was Animal Kingdom and Epcot were usually less, especially now with Galaxy's Edge and so on and so forth. But we don't know when it's going to be introduced. I guess they do use this dynamic pricing in Disneyland Paris. So they were kind of testing it out.
Okay. All right. That's so interesting. We'll have to see how that lands.
And they're saying it could come soon enough. But again, just a rumor. There's really nobody said anything. There has to be some talk about it. I don't know. Speaking of Disneyland has a ride that's somewhat coming soon to Disney World, Indiana Jones Adventure, right at Disneyland. It opened on March 3rd, 1985. No, I'm sorry, 1995.
Okay.
1995. So it's coming up in a couple of days. It's 30th anniversary of that ride.
Wow.
It's closing for refurbishment.
During its 30th anniversary?
No, they're actually going to do it on St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
So if you wanted to drink some green beer and go on the...
you're out of luck.
Yeah, it's not going to happen for you. You're not going to go through the temple, or as it's called, because what is the actual ride? It's the Indiana Jones Adventure Temple of the Forbidden Eye. Anyway, so that's going to be closing. They're saying that it's going to close from March 18th and will be closed as a given opening date. I didn't see it, but they're not expecting to be closed too long. Okay. They said there's going to be a new adventure, a new ride coming to Walt Disney World, replacing Dinosaur sometime soon. So that's Indiana Jones. Back over in Walt Disney World, in Magic Kingdom, in Tomorrowland, the ride that is the inferior ride of the Toy Story shooting rides got a replacement of a projection screen. For those that don't know, right, there's two video game kind of shooting gallery rides that are Toy Story. One's the Toy Story Mania 3D over in Hollywood Studios, and then there's Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin. At the end of Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, you go through this big tunnel where you can still shoot. It's like the ending finale, and you could shoot the Zorg, I think is the name. And if you ever gone through there, it looked kind of budget. It's been old. It's been around for a while. They finally replaced the projectors, so now it looks nicer, more up to date, and a clearer finale from what you'd want to see. So that's something. How do you feel about the two Toy Story shooting rides? What are your thoughts on them? Which one do you prefer?
I like the one that you pull the rope.
That's Toy Story Mania.
Yeah. I think that it's the interaction of that one is just more fun. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I think it's more fun.
I think it's newer. It's a newer, and it's definitely cooler. Whereas because you're all just shooting. I feel
when you're shooting with the laser,
yes,
it's harder to feel navigate where you're going for some reason. Whereas if I'm pulling and I see the ball go, I know, I know I'm doing something.
The franticness of it. Yeah, I agree. So, this one, I've always been kind of confused why this is still here, being that there's another Toy Story. It just always seemed weird, but I guess they have to do something with it. That space has been changing hands every 10 years or so. This has been around for a while. I think at this point it was 1998.
Okay.
This has been around for. So it's been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
But before that, it was always this. It was a different airlines took over. It was a flight. It was this is the world of flight, right? Because it was in Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
So it was at one point it was Eastern, or it was it was Eastern Airlines and Delta Airlines, and they just kept dropping it sponsorship, and eventually it just became this. So that's Buzz Lightyear. So check it out. You're going to get a new-ish experience.
Woo!
Yeah. Anyway, Disney World Paris. We talked about it briefly. They got dynamic pricing. They got a lot of construction going on in Disneyland Paris.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they have something that's a new area. It's going to be called Adventure Bay, right? Because Disney loves their water surrounding properties.
Of course.
So they're putting up, and they're building an entire world of Frozen there, similar to, yeah. So
we are going to go to that one.
Which one, Paris or Tokyo?
I think Paris.
Oh, I see. You don't want
I feel like Tokyo is very far for us to go.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But
Paris, a little bit more outside of our, it comes from your roots of your Scandinavian background or whatever that you come from, your English background.
So sorry. I'm sorry, I'm not 100% like Italian. Like you.
Forget about it. Yeah, so they have the World of Frozen is coming on there. They're also going to have a Lion King land.
Oh,
also there.
Okay, cool. I think I recall them reporting about that. It's going to be really neat.
Yeah, so I think it's called Disney Adventure World, or the expansion continues rapidly. Adventure Bay was seen as a major landscape work with new trees and fresh pavement. So they're coming along. There's lots of scaffolding, but you see the structures coming up. The mountain is already there for World of Frozen. Disneyland Paris. I mean, you got to go do it. Supposedly, it's going to have a new Frozen ride. It's going to be a newer version of the ride that's in Epcot.
All right. I love that.
So where it's different, because the other rides are different, but this is just a newer version. So maybe it's going to have the less creepy dead eyes of you see in Frozen Ever After, right? And then Elsa's just kind of like. So anyway, well, yeah.
Where she just like follows you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't
like,
even. I don't want to try.
Hey, stop looking at me, Elsa. I just let it go. Just let it go. Yeah. So that's kind of wrapping up our Disney. Now going into Universal, and we're at a good 48 minutes, so I could keep talking for a little bit longer. Pterodon Flyers.
Yeah.
Just reopened.
Okay. I don't understand what the purpose of Pterodon Flyers are, because it's just for kids.
Yes.
And it's a dang cool idea. We need to open this up for more folks and have more going around. It's just
here's the interesting part, right? And that's where they're saying the uniqueness of Pterodon Flyers, not Pterodon Flyers. The P silent. It's made for the minimum height is 36 inches and the maximum height is 56 inches, right? So that's not a lot. That's under 5 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. So most adults are out. They're not going to go, but you can ride it if you are accompanied by a child. So if we want to go with one of the kids, you could go on it. You can't have two adults go on it that are over 5 feet, over 56 inches. They won't allow it.
But it just doesn't make sense. Make a ride that everybody can go on.
Well, so they're just trying to, it's only 80 seconds long, the entire ride. And it just meant there's no thrills to it. It's just you're higher above the ground. Right. Anyway, it's been closed for 10 months and there was no announcement of them closing it. They just closed and no one knows why it was closed all that time. I'm guessing it was substantial refurbishments, but I would also be well, how did the people that wrote it the day before it closed feel? Maybe my life is in danger here. My kids' life is in danger. I mean, I always find, most of our kids would not want to go on this ride without us at first. Now, maybe now a little bit. They kind of chuck us to the
would
side.
Would they go together maybe?
Yeah. So that's where I kind of see that happening, but it's a unique ride. The concept of it, right? Saying no parents, get out of here, you as they call us, Disney adults, right?
Right. But the fact, this is one thing I probably should know, but I don't. because I just see them going from one end to the other. So does it drop you off at completely the opposite end? As a parent, how do you navigate that? Are you like, I'm going to run, because you can't run through it, right? You have to go all the way around, and it's not an easy, it's not one of the easier rides to find the entrance and exit.
Yeah, no, correct.
So,
that's where I always get confused.
So it's like, as a parent, you're putting your kid on one end, and then how are you getting to the other end quickly?
I don't know. Things maybe we'll figure out now that it's open.
We're like, okay, Universal, enjoy our kids. Bye.
For 80 seconds. And however
I'm
long
going to go get a drink. We'll see ya.
However long the queue is.
You have requested no adults on this ride.
You seem very bitter about this.
I am. I really wanted to try it out, and I was denied, okay?
All right. Speaking of Epic, thanks for bringing it up. Epic Universe, they just released more tickets. Now, we brought up the fact during our big Epic Universe episode and other episodes. Besides that, is that right now they're still not selling you can't buy like a single day ticket to Epic Universe as of now. It's opening in a couple months. You have to buy like a 3 or like a 2, 3, 5-day pass, and you get like a day included. And which I guess is kind of smart on a marketing standpoint, but it's also kind of annoying.
Right, because it's telling me that they took out big loans for Epic Universe and they are making numbers to pay this back. And you are part of that plan.
They just released more ticket packages. Florida residents, you could get a 3-day, 3-park-to-park ticket plus Epic Universe starting from $128. And, Florida residents, just like Disney, get better pricing for everything because they're Florida residents and they're paying taxes and so on and so forth. So that's a pretty good price. You could also do, now this one is the Florida resident 3-day, 2-park-to-park ticket plus Epic Universe for $117. That one just gives you, right, so that's, you can move freely between Universal and Islands of Adventure, and then you get the 1 day at Epic Universe. The first one that I talked about was a 3-day, 3-park. That includes Volcano Bay. But much like the rest of the world, I forgot about that. Much like the rest of the world, I never remember Volcano Bay. It looks cool coming in. I'm like, I'm not going there. I'm not a water park person.
It is a really cool park.
Yeah.
I mean, with the tattoo, everybody loves it.
Right.
You don't know what tattoo is, do you?
I don't know what a tattoo is?
Tattoo.
Oh, I don't know what tattoo is.
Oh, boy. All right. We'll have to cover that on our next podcast.
Tap to the beat. But if you're in the military or you're a veteran, you can now add you and rightfully so should get more perks for joining the military. It's called the Military Freedom Pass promotional ticket, and you could get a 1-park, 1-day Universal Epic ticket add-on. So it seems like you could just buy a ticket for 1 day to Universal, and then you could get a day. You could buy a 1-day ticket to Epic Universe. So that's pretty cool.
That's great.
There's something else that's coming out. It's the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Florida Resident Vacation Package with Epic Universe. It seems like there's just a lot of perks. Like there's
like a long line of things. Yeah,
you get like a breakfast at Leaky Cauldron, and you get breakfast at Cafe Lair de la Serene.
Beautiful.
And Epic, that's going to be in Epic Universe, and the photo session at Diagon Alley. And it doesn't list the price, but I guess that's a package that's available, and we'll also give you an Epic Universe ticket.
Yeah.
Okay. Universal, we're still going. Epic Universe, they lit up. There was a surprise on Thursday, February 20th. Like, they didn't tell anybody. They tested out their fireworks show. Yeah, so somebody was lucky enough to, in the Universal Disneyverse, they caught it and were able to take some pictures of it.
That's great.
And so that's happening. Now, one of the crazy things about Epic Universe is that, do you know that it's actually right across the street from a sewage treatment plant?
That doesn't surprise me.
Okay, so Universal has added an air quality information feature to their app.
Oh my God.
Due to the Epic Universe being across the street from a sewage treatment plant. I guess people have been, obviously people have been going there to try to get sneak peeks, and sometimes it smells. So you're actually going to be able to see
no.
the air quality of like the parks. Now, obviously, it's for every park.
I'm just seeing like a poo-o-meter where it's like, today, the park smells this much like poo. Tomorrow, this much.
They're
Like,
saying it's not only just a sewage treatment plant, it's one of Orange County's biggest sewage treatment plants.
oh.
So of all the places for them to, they said, talk about the stench on some days, they release the gas. You can smell driving up and down Sand Lake Road.
Oh, this was not a good idea. My
So maybe they might have to give away tickets at some point because,
my God.
I mean, they had to like figure this out, but I think it's just been more, maybe people have been realizing it. So they had to, this is what they had to do. But what would you do if like you're planning on going to Epic Universe and it's like the
Just
high,
smell.
if it's a high, you see it on your app and it says it's like a high, air pollutant day. You're just going to not go, or are they going to mask up? I mean, what do you...
I don't know. Like, because no filter really gets smell out, does it?
I don't know.
I mean, if they were in the Disneyverse, they'd probably put Scentsies everywhere, right? Within the
You
park.
just walk around with your nose in a smelliphant.
Yeah. How interesting.
So I want to see how
That's
that...
a good bit of news, Rob.
I want to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
So that is epic. The other thing, so there was the CEO of, it doesn't say CEO Mark Woodbury. It doesn't say CEO of what? I'm guessing of Universal theme parks. Anyway, so he told the New York Times that he has secret plans for Wicked attractions. If you didn't know, right? Wicked, right? Obviously, who doesn't know about Wicked? I mean, it's huge. It blew up. It came out in November. Huge cultural impact. I mean, our kids, we've watched it multiple times.
And they love it every time.
Listen to the soundtrack. Obviously, it's been a long time, it's been a play. It was a book. People love it. But they're really, it's a Universal owned IP, but they haven't really done anything with it in any of their parks. They had like a Wicked experience like in City Walk on Universal. But that just like, it showed costumes and it had, you could do a meet and greet with Alphaba but like that really was it. So now they're saying that the CEO is saying like he's been secretly planning some type of Wicked attraction. And I mean, it does have like, obviously you could fly on a broomstick. I mean, you could go on that train just going into Emerald City would be amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, so there's a ton of stuff that they can do. So it makes sense that they should mine that. I mean, obviously, Wizard of Oz is, universally, pun intended, loved. And, they could do a lot. I guess back in the day, and let's see if I can go back here. Let's talk about where Universal Studios Singapore has a Wicked. They have a small version of Emerald City, including replicas of the Hot Air Cafe float. Oh, it says Hot Air Cafe float on in the Emerald Beautification Salon. You could do meet and greets with Alphaba and Glinda. Universal Studios Japan will have a special Wicked experiences starting this March 7th through December 31st as part of the Wicked celebration. That will coincide with the release of Wicked: For Good coming out this next November. Wicked: For Good. Universal Studios Japan once had a Land of Oz that was complete with Munchkin Land and the Emerald City. It featured a shortened version of the Wicked Broadway show, and the Miniland was open from 2006 to 2011. Just obviously it wasn't, now it's big.
Yeah.
They should have wished they kept it around, or maybe they'll bring it back. But Universal definitely could use something else, another IP for them, another movie. They could add it into all their parades and their shows and everything, and it'll be a big hit.
I love it.
Now, the last thing we're going to talk about, and this we've mentioned before, Universal Kids Resort is opening in Frisco, Texas.
There was a lot of news released this week about that.
There's going to be 6 immersive themed lands in this resort, but like it's not an actual theme park. It's just like a hotel resort area. So it has like a 330 room resort, but it's going to have kind of these areas to go in that you could, they're kind of like playground-ish or water park, like water play pads. What are your thoughts on it? I don't know.
So it is a little confusing that it's going to be, I'm thinking it's more of like a Great Wolf Lodge kind of feel, right? But a little bit bigger because they're having these different areas. My concern is definitely number one, is 330 rooms enough? And are they going to provide day passes for people just staying in the area? Like, how is this going to look? How are you going to navigate that? Do you have some sort of special privilege if you are a guest at the hotel versus an outside guest? I mean, so my thoughts are really capacity when they're opening up something like this, because there's nothing out there, right? I mean, there's lots of things out there, but not like this.
It sounds like the reason they put it out there is because there's lots of land that could be developed, and that's why it's. So,
like, is this part of like a bigger plan in the future where they're going to bring different hotels,
like
and
little mini resorts like all over, maybe
all throughout?
Yeah, it could be. The lands, because I'm sure everyone was hoping I would list them. DreamWorks Shrek. It's going to be like you stomp, ride, laugh, and play in Shrek's Swamp Theme Playground. Nickelodeon SpongeBob SquarePants. It's Bikini Bottom's Day, best day ever. And SpongeBob and friends cannot wait to show you around their neighborhood under the sea. Illuminations Minions. Let the games begin as Illuminations Minions overrun a peaceful vacation retreat. It's going to be like water soaked. So they're saying there's Jurassic World. It's a journey of exploration where kids can learn about and come face to face with dinosaurs. They're saying that Jurassic World's going to be specifically from the Camp Cretaceous show.
Okay, cool.
Which I've never seen, but my younger sister actually, her kids stopped watching it. She kept watching it anyway.
So cute.
DreamWorks Trolls. It's like, it's going to be like music. Obviously, Trolls. There's DreamWorks Puss in Boots, which you're going to be kind of sideshow games, fun rides, and festive food. For Puss in Boots, as we all remember.
Yeah, that's why I don't remember those things.
And then there's going to be the Park Hub with DreamWorks Gabby's Dollhouse. It's going to be an interactive play area with shady lawns for rest and recharge, plus an immersive retail experience.
I mean, because that's super relaxing.
So that's the Universal Kids Resorts Land.
Wow. Well, I'll be interesting to see. When is that supposed to open?
2026.
2026. Okay.
Those dates specifically, but yeah.
Okay. Well, that's so interesting.
So, no. I think it would be beyond our kids.
Perhaps.
Yeah. So I couldn't.
So maybe it's more like a Legoland experience than a Great Wolf Lodge experience, right?
Okay. For any of us that have ever been to Legoland.
Like,
for those of you who don't know what Great Wolf Lodge is.
There's some things inside and then there's stuff outside. Yeah. That actually matches up a lot.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, thanks so much for all that news. That was great.
There's a lot to catch up on. We've been gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And that was really just from like the past week. So I can only imagine what we didn't get to.
Well, we will continue on next week with the DHE 105 Disney Hour Express.
Yeah.
And next week, we're going to be discussing spring break at Disney, planning tips and crowd hacks. We know it's springtime. A lot have already planned their trips out, but let's discuss what the best way to attack the parks is.
We're going to give you some hacking.
Woo-hoo.
I mean, if you know the history of our show, there's a good chance that I will be coughing throughout an episode.
We won't allow that.
Now that we're on, now you're going to have to see it. I'm going to be like,
gross.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in, Pioneers. We'll see you next time.
This has been a Family Travel Planner production.